Hey everyone, BlueLizardJello here, and it's time for another episode of Everything Possible Before a Boss here in Dark Souls 2. Today we're going to use the fragrant branch of yore that we picked up while in the gutter to open the way to the Shaded Woods so we can see what items are in there. For any of you familiar with the game, or if you've been watching the series, you've seen this path before. I usually take it right at the beginning of the game just to pick up the items that are right at the end. However, the way is blocked by a statue that looks very lifelike. However, the statue is not a statue at all, it's actually Rosabeth, who's been petrified. The fragrant branch of yore, which you can collect throughout the game, will actually unpetrify these statues, so that you can get to the areas beyond them, or in some cases, so you can get the item that the enemy will drop once killed. We've already killed these before, so there's not going to be any items in their cages. However, this room itself, not this specific cell, but this room, is a bit of a trap. As soon as we free Rosabeth, and as soon as we pull that lever, there's going to be another 4 of those infected hollows that drop down from the top portions. If you don't kill the ones on the bottom, you are looking at a group of 6 that need to be killed in order to survive. Now, an easier way, instead of killing them all, would be to actually pick up some alluring skulls from Sweet Chalquar in Majula, and you can just keep throwing the skulls at the other end of the room, and these hollows will congregate over there, making it a lot easier. Now, what I learned today is that sorcery spells may not actually be the best for taking these guys out, and the reason is due to their actual height. As soon as they start running at me, the spells often go above their head and miss. Just keep that in mind. Range attacks do work, but the spells are often going over their head. Now, the infecteds don't tend to drop anything too important. However, the basilisk, if you want to farm the basilisk until they are no longer spawning, they can actually drop upgrade stones. In fact, this one's going to. So this is our first item of the day, a piece of raw stone. However, they not only drop raw stone, but they drop raw, faint, dark knight, bolt, poison, and fire drake stone. So a really good source of upgrade materials early on in the game if you want to farm this guy the 12 times that he will spawn before he would need a bonfire ascetic. So the cells up here, they do contain the infected hollows as well. Only one of these cells, however, actually contains an item. The one that I just opened is not that one. And here, however, there's a body on the right with a shiny on it, and that shiny will be a soul of a proud knight and a human effigy. Take care of these stragglers. And then there are 2 doors down here in this room on the bottom floor, each of which contain a very good item. One of those items is a bonfire, so you don't actually have to go through that spiel ever again if you don't want to. And the other door contains an iron chest that has an Estus flash shard in it. So here we meet Rosabeth, our resident pyromancer who will move back to Majula. A few things of note. Number 1, she can upgrade your pyromancy glove. She also needs some clothes. So you get to play a little dress-up game with Rosabeth. So pick whatever armor you don't need and whatever armor you want to see her in. I'll leave that up to your imagination. And then the next time you see her, this is exactly what she'll be wearing. Just showing you some of the things that she sells, some of the quartz rings, some of the burrs, and then she does sell 3 of the fire seeds, and then a number of pyromancy spells. Now with the fire seeds, as I said early in the playthrough, you can get 6 fire seeds, 3 of which you do have to buy from her at 8,000 souls apiece. Really not that difficult to get your hands on 8,000 souls, however, so I definitely recommend picking those up to upgrade your dark pyromancy glove. There's our shard. and let's push on. So running through these paths, we will run into a number of the infected hollows, some of which, actually all of which I should say, are completely possible to run past. I do stop and kill some of them just to show you what you can possibly get as drops, as well as you do have a couple of shinies along the way to our next bonfire. Get the backstab on this one. Now unfortunately, the item he's guarding is nothing more than a fading soul. And then we get a life gem from this one. But then up ahead, so you run up this little stone pathway and then turn left. You can see the shiny in the background there. Yet another free Pharros Lockstone. Melentia, did you hear that? Another free Pharros Lockstone. Quit charging such exorbitant prices. I almost always run through this area because I don't feel the need to fight 4 or 5 of them at the same time. And then we already come to our next bonfire. Bonfires in this area are pretty numerous and not very spaced apart. So this is the forked road. We have left, straight, and to the right. To the left is going to be the Shrine of Winter, and it's going to be the one that we explore first. Now, as I said before, the spells, even though they're particularly powerful, oftentimes miss, just like that did. Because when they charge up to you, the spells are actually going to go over their shoulder and completely miss them. So if you can't get them from range, you're actually better off with melee in this instance. Even beating them with a magic staff. By the way, just as a note, the protrusion on the front of them, that is their stomach. Hopefully you can tell that from this video or from playing it yourself, but that is a distended stomach, nothing else. I'm not sure what they're trying to actually depict with this character design, with this creature design. Distended bowels are typically a sign of severe malnutrition. But these things are almost dragging on the ground. So I guess maybe they're just not very well nourished on souls? I don't know. That's terrible speculation. Alright, here we have Ring of Life Protection and another large soul of a proud knight. So Ring of Life Protection we've talked about before. You wear that ring and you die. You don't turn hollow. You don't lose your souls. And all you need to do in order to use the ring again is bring it to a blacksmith and repair it for 3,000 souls. So here we have a non-boss Flexile Sentry. So I'm sure you recognize him as the boss of No Man's Worth. However, in this instance, he is just another enemy, another non-responding enemy, kind of like the Hade Knights. Very, very easy to kill with range. If you want to kill him with melee, what I recommend is getting on the side with the clubs, because the attacks are a lot easier to dodge. He drops a Twinkling Titanite, which is excellent, and then take care of this infected hollow before grabbing that other shiny. And we pick up the Dragonslayer's Crescent Axe and the Golden Falcon Shield. Golden Falcon Shield, other than looking like a bird, is nothing special whatsoever. The Crescent Axe, however, is kind of neat in that it does have natural lightning damage. And when I say natural lightning damage, what I mean is there's no infusion on it, but it does have split damage between physical and lightning, which makes it a pretty good candidate for lightning infusion later on, although the lightning output is still not that great even after the infusion. But if you want a decent looking weapon with some okay lightning damage, that one might be a good one for you to take a look at. So we took the middle path. This goes up to Aldia's Keep, which we can't get to because we don't have the King's Ring, but we do get the red Tearstone Ring, which we will certainly be using quite a bit later on. So, red Tearstone Ring, when your HP drops below 30%, you get an extra 20% damage boost, and that does affect your physical as well as sorceries and hexes. Those have been confirmed. Okay, we've done left, we've done middle. Now let's go right. And I say that with a heavy heart because I hate this area. There are several transparent enemies in this area that really make it kind of difficult to get through sometimes. But there's a lot of good stuff in here, so we are going to explore it completely and get everything there is. So, first and foremost, we have Soul of a Proud Knight and a Human Effigy. And then we're going to go up just a little bit, see the head of Vengarl on the right, loop around behind, get another Fire Seed. So, including the 3 that we can get from Rosabeth, that would be our 5th. We have 1 more that we won't be getting until a little bit later on. And this guy, who you can barely make out there, he decided to make it darn near impossible for me to talk to Vengarl, which we want to, because we can actually get his helm and a gesture from him, not to mention he is a merchant. So I try for a little bit to see if I can either kill him or get him to go away, but it's just not happening. So now we travel out here. So you're going to find a few random corpses. This one has a soul of a nameless soldier and a radiant Lifegem. And there are some decent maps online. I'll try to find a good one and link it in the description. A couple of Lloyd's talismans there. But if you follow the rightmost wall, it'll loop you around to see most of the important treasures at least. So this chest that we're going to see right at the top of this hill, this has the Old Sun Ring. The Old Sun Ring explodes at a certain damage threshold. So as you take damage, this ring is basically building up a counter, and once that counter reaches the top, it actually explodes and damages about 500 damage to enemies, which actually can be very, very useful in certain situations. So again, following the right, open this iron chest, we get ourselves an upgrade to the Chloranthy Ring. So we get the Chloranthy Ring +1. And there's actually yet another ring in here that we're going to try to get our hands on. This one is the hardest to get. But if you can lure all the enemies away and you have an idea of where the chest is, which it's right here, what I like to do is, well, I try to get greedy and open it and take the item at the same time. But typically, if you open the chest and then roll away... Oh, bad stagger. But run a little bit away, heal up, and then we can loop back around and get our hands on the blue Tearstone Ring +1, which increases our casting speed. Get some more amber herbs, always good to have. Now we're about to speed the video up because I do go back to try to talk to Vengarl and I'm again followed. So I decide I'm going to go back to the bonfire and reset the entire encounter. That way I can hopefully get up here without incident. And because you can't lock on, spells are pretty much useless unless you have a nice AoE spell. But I rested the bonfire, resetting all the enemies, and this should now be doable. So in order to get Vengarl's helm, what you need to do is exhaust his dialogue. So just keep talking to him. Keep talking to him. And learn the decapitate gesture, ironic, because that's just his head we're talking to. Keep talking, and there you go, Vengarl's helm. Then we can take a quick look at what he has to offer. Nothing too amazing, but he does have another Ring of Soul Protection. A little bit different than the Life Protection in that this not only keeps your humanity, it keeps your souls, but you also won't get petrified. And that's going to do it for this area. That is every item collected in these Shaded Woods. So now we're going to make our way up to the Shaded Ruins, where our next episode will take place. There's some really cool secrets in this place that I am excited to show you. But guys, if you've learned something, please let me know what you learned in the comments, or if I've missed something or you want to just add into the discussion, please do so in the comments below. If you have any questions on anything you've seen so far, please let me know. I'll be happy to get the answer for you. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting the series, and we will see you next time in the Shaded Ruins. So have a great day, and I'll see you next time.